Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast at Mayakoba, it wasn't a walk in the park win, it was a walk in the resort win for a familiar face, plus the LPGA heading down to the final stretch. We got exciting coverage coming from the world of golf in all aspects, and a content announcement with the tour as well, too. We're getting to its season finale. We're tuned into a ridiculous man cave and Mike's NOLA trip, plus this week's guest is mini tour pro Chris Wiatr with some fun stories and a local New England connection as well. And it's my Buc-ees obsession Thanksgiving part 1 and beignet reviews when we always end with food. All of it brought to you by our friends at Desert Fox Golf. And the news is finally in, Mike. This is something I've been talking about since I saw my Desert Fox Golf friends at January in the PGA show in Orlando. But the cigar holder to accompany your Desert Fox phone caddy is now officially available. So for all those cigar aficionados out there, this is huge news because this is a wonderful compliment to the phone caddy, and it's made by our friends at Desert Fox Golf. So check out desertfoxgolf.com. Our promo code Course of Life. Sorry about that. Promo code Course of Life to save you 10% off. Again, at desertfoxgolf.com. Make sure you get a phone caddy, a cigar holder, a wonderful swing aid tumbler, or any other golf accessory that they offer for the holiday gift you need for the golfer in your life. Again, desertfoxgolf.com.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf and our newest partners at Voris Golf. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, it was the Worldwide Technology Championship at Mayakoba Resort Golf. Victor Hovland going for the three-peat.
He was.
He usually does very well in these resort courses. He opened with a strong 65, but could not do much really after that. He finishes tied for 10th with Taylor Montgomery. Money in the bank for Taylor Montgomery. We'll talk about that in a second. But Russell Henley, he had like a 6-shot lead going into Sunday. He shoots a calm and collected 70 to win again on tour. First time in a while there. So Russell Henley cashes a nice, cool check at resort and a little bit of resort living out there.
Yeah, he's a certified tour pro. He's been around for a while. Very familiar name. Just, again, one of those guys that finds a way to get in the winner's circle like once every maybe 2-3 years, it feels like. Just often enough to keep the card around. And he's a good example of doing that and staying on tour for a duration of a career. And Henley gets win number 4. I looked up at leaving Sunday lunch and I saw he had a 4-shot lead in the front 9. I was like, pretty hard to catch on a birdie fest like this if you're already 22 under on Sunday. And sure enough, he rolled. So shout out to Henley for getting it done. And yeah, you hinted at a couple of my picks there. Another solid week for my picks in my Run Your Pool article, all of them in the top 50. I rolled with Seamus Power again, fresh off the win, and he followed the win up with a 3rd. And we got to shout out the money in the bank. Like you mentioned, Taylor Montgomery. I said here on this podcast last week, I have an automatic bet that I place every Wednesday, and it's for Taylor Montgomery to finish in the top 20 in the PGA Tour. Okay? That is cashed 5 times in the last 7 weeks. Okay? So if you are interested in earning money while sitting on your couch and watching golf, that's the bet you need to place. He's in the field again this week. I feel like a broken record right now. That's all I'm going to say for that. So impressive week for my picks.
Also want to shout out the 62 on Sunday from Scottie Scheffler, who changed his putter mid-tournament, right? And that's potentially what has put him maybe back on track to have another hot winter or spring here. Maybe.
I mean, he's trying to wrap up this amazing 2022. What a year he had.
He is. We'll talk about him in a second, about the Houston Open. We'll talk about him when we get there. But that's Mayakoba. That's in the books. The LPGA, let's talk the LPGA because it's the Pelican Women's Open this weekend.
It is, yeah. So we're down to the stretch of the LPGA, and I'm following closely for a couple of reasons. Not only is this a really cool event, Annika Sorenstam and her charity organization tied to the Pelican event this week, but it always produces a lot of flair and some great finishes. But this is the lead up to next week's CME Group Tour Championship. This is the grand finale for the LPGA, the top 60. And I am actually going to be on the grounds next Monday with the world's best at the LPGA. Thanks again to the LPGA for having us out there. It's going to be a really cool opportunity. Content galore incoming. Hopefully we can catch up with some friends who we've had on the show as well. But a big stretch coming up here for the LPGA. So might be getting overshadowed a little bit with everything else going on in the world of golf. But wanted to call attention to the fact that a great LPGA season is coming to an end really soon. It's time to tune in.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend at the Pelican. And of course, the championship will be great as well.
Yeah,
let's talk about the Champions Tour circuit because... talk about automatic. Bernhard Langer.
Your guy is back.
Langer becomes the oldest person. He broke his own record.
Yes.
Actually, by being the oldest man to win a PGA Tour sanctioned event.
Yep.
And he's now one back of Hale Irwin's record, 45 titles. He now has 44 all-time Champion Tour wins.
He's getting it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's amazing to see. I love the storyline. So the Champions Tour, for those who don't know, the PGA Tour Champions is 50 and over circuit. So Bernhard Langer's been at this for a decade and a half now. And he's been crushing this tour since you and I were in college. Okay. Yeah. So he is a certified veteran on this tour. And to see him still getting it done at age 65 against the 50, 51, 52-year-olds fresh out of the PGA Tour, too. A lot of names that you'd recognize, obviously playing right now out there. Really cool to see the old guy getting one past the young guns on the PGA Tour Champions. And yeah, like I said, he's one away from that record. Does that happen this season? Maybe not. But I'm looking at 2023, 2024 as a potential barrier for him to pass that mark from Hale Irwin.
Yeah, I think definitely he's certainly going to do it. The question is how many will he have?
Oh God, man, he's the ultimate Iron Man, and it's so cool. And we always have this. We have the conversation around Bernhard Langer whenever he wins and he hoists the trophy, which is just so often. It's happened several times in the history of this podcast. But we also have the Bernhard Langer conversation, and we get to have it every year at the Masters because you always know on Thursday or Friday there's just one random moment. For some reason, because the stars love to align in the world of golf, that Bernhard Langer will find himself on the first page of the Masters leaderboard. You can cut and paste this for next April when it actually happens.
Wait, I'm going to ask, I think we know the answer to this question. I'm going to ask the question. Is there any other Champions Tour player, past or present, let's go ahead and expand it. Let's maybe make it a little more difficult. Past or present, who would have an opportunity to actually win at Augusta more than Bernhard Langer? Is there anyone else who has a chance
in 2023? You're saying?
Yeah. I mean, let's say, is there any other than? Yeah.
I have a couple names. I'll have one that really annoys you, so I'm going to say that one first.
Okay.
Vijay Singh.
Yeah. Probably. You don't think Stephen Alker, who's leading the Champions Tour?
He can't get into the Masters. He can't get in. He didn't win enough in his PGA Tour career. So, yeah.
Don't you think they should let the winner of the Champions Tour Schwab Cup get into the
That's
match?
a fun idea. That's a fun. You know what? A regular PGA Tour stop should get that idea first and take it right now. That's a great idea, Mike.
And then what they should do is they should pair the guy from the Champions Tour with one of the amateurs.
Yeah, the youngest guy. Put the 19-year-old with the
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Exactly. All right. So Bernhard Langer wins again. Speaking of old guys, Tiger Woods, he's old.
Oh, God. He is old. That means we're old, too, then, if he's old.
Yeah, so. He's got one leg, half a back. He's got amazing arms, though. I mean, damn, is he strong up there in the upper body.
Yes.
He's going to be playing the match because we just do this all the time now, and it's 12 holes again because that's what we do now. Tiger, Rory, Jordan, JT, all going to be out there. Do you care? I don't know if I care.
Well, I'm going to care because I want to see how this plays out and is broadcasted and is shown to us golf viewers as the first kind of first post-live era, the match. We've already had the full follow from the live, and a lot of those guys, Brooks, Bryson, Phil, who we saw in previous iterations of the match, Funny how none of them are in the cards for this one here. We've got the four kind of PGA Tour head honcho cheerleaders, if you will, in Tiger, Rory, JT, and Spieth, all playing against one another. So I'm curious to see how that kind of all plays out from a golf storyline position. Yeah,
and this is unlike being played out on the West Coast or in a central time zone and getting primetime golf. We're going to get primetime golf, but it's going to be done under the lights in Florida. So that's a little different.
I don't hate that. Yeah. I've always had that fantasy. I've done 9-hole pitch and putt under the lights, but I've never really actually played a full legit course under the lights. They do exist. They're few and far between, but I'll be curious to see what that looks like.
Here's the other question. Do you think that this match could also include some sort of tech-heavy element in it, like we're going to see out of Tiger and Rory's new venture?
Yes. Good. We're gonna do drop little Easter eggs like Taylor Swift, little previews of what the future of golf is here in the match broadcast. I like that. Yeah.
Why not?
That's very much in the cards. I'll be looking out for that for sure.
All right. It's actually all going to be done in a simulator. They're not actually going to play the course at all.
That's right.
All right, so that's what's happening around the world of golf this past week. Let's look ahead to the Houston Open that is coming up this weekend. It's out there. I was just in the Houston airport. It's a popular place out there in Houston.
What was that? Were you in Bush or Hobby? Which one?
I was in Hobby, and you in case you didn't know, the Astros were in the World Series. It was all over the place. But hey, Scottie Scheffler is going to be there. Sam Burns, Russell Henley, coming to see if he can go back to back now.
Solid field.
Tony's going to be there. Going to be out there.
Tony Finau's going to be there as well too. Pretty good for the second to last calendar event. I was saying in my article, typically we're just like, these are like the getaway days in baseball. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's just kind of really ready just to pack it in. Like, no, there's pretty good names coming out to the Houston Open, which you love to see. And I highlighted Memorial Park. The cool part about this week, Mike, is they're playing at just a straight up muni course. This is a municipal course in the city of Houston that reopened a few years ago and now hosts this event. So this is straight up like city golf, like not many water hazards, not many bunkers. You play from grass, you hit it on the green, and you put the ball in. Like it's a no-nonsense course, and it's a pretty good test too.
Yeah, and Scottie Scheffler, coming off that hot end at Mayakoba, did have a T2 last year here in a course record 62. So I'm just saying.
He's on my card. I'll say that. I'm not going to tell you my full card. You'll check out runyourpool.com for the full preview. But he's definitely on the card. He's the odds-on betting favorite as well, too. And I got to see a really cool thing today as well, too. I sent you a few pictures earlier, and they're fully up at COL Podcast and Course of Life Alex on Instagram if you want to see for yourself. But I saw 4 players in the Houston Open field, but here in Austin, Texas, of all places. How about that?
Yeah. Who did you see again?
It was Bo Hostler, Austin, Texas native, Texas Longhorn as well, and Keith Mitchell, multiple-time PGA Tour winner, up against the funny guys, I called them, Joel Damon and Harry Higgs. So a lot of personality out there. It was the Tito's Shorties Classic, a cool little PGA Tour sanctioned event sponsored by Tito's at a 9-hole pitch and putt right in downtown Austin. A pitch and putt I played several times over. The greens were looking immaculate, by the way. They had a little 9-hole skins match, very limited crowd, really cool setup. The guys were having a lot of fun. It was a unique opportunity to see the PGA Tour players truly in their own element, having a good time on the course and just not caring what goes on out there. So that was fun, and all 4 of those guys are going to be in the field this week as well.
So of those 4 guys, who's going to actually win in Houston?
Yeah, I got Damon on the card, and you know why? Because you're looking at that leaderboard from last year, top 10 last year here at Houston Open. So I'm looking for him to keep the form. And I saw some good wedges from him today as well, too. So
there you go.
He's got a good attitude, good wedges, good history. We'll add him to the card as well.
Yep. So Run Your Pool article up now. Full card on Twitter will be out on Wednesday. Course of Life 1 on Twitter. Let's go ahead and switch over to Tuned In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. I was in New Orleans.
You are? Yeah, I really only saw much in food. We'll get to that later, but what were you actually there for?
So I was there for the New Orleans Film Festival. The wife had her short film in the festival, Daniel and Nate, which is kind of starting to round out its festival trips here. So we went out, we saw, besides watching her block of movies there, I got to be honest, we didn't see really anything else.
That's okay. I'm not offended.
Yeah.
How did the screening of her movie go?
It went well. I think it went really well. I think she has a great film. I am biased, but I think it's a great film about child caregivers, and it's a great little insight into something that a lot of people don't think about. So if it ends up streaming somewhere, don't worry, you'll hear about it here because I am a big cheerleader for her. So Daniel and Nate is the name of the film.
Okay.
So we went to Bourbon Street. We were in the French Quarter.
What are your thoughts on the smell of Bourbon Street?
Oh my God, it's dirty and smelly.
It's one of the three maybe most memorable odors, and I use the word odor correctly here. That's one of the most memorable odors you're going to come across in your lifetime is Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
New Orleans seems like a really cool city. It's a place I'd like to go back to when I have time to actually explore the place. That said, it did give me a little bit of New York City vibes. I don't even think I've actually seen this in New York City from all the time I've been there. There was a guy peeing on the side of the street.
Yes. Welcome to New Orleans. Yep.
Yeah. So that said, beautiful city, wrought iron fences all over the place. Pretty cool there, and just
very cool architecture.
I can't wait to go back. It does coming from Savannah, where a lot of people said, New Orleans is a lot like Savannah, or Savannah is a lot like New Orleans. It's very true. There were a lot of Savannah vibes I got there in New Orleans. So
very cool. We'll pick up the food portion of the conversation a little bit later on this.
Yes.
So I was tuned in last week because I told you before that MTV, they don't do much right. They still have the 1 hour a week of music videos. And the other thing that we were actually excited they revived was MTV Cribs.
Yes.
A thing we actually care about. We want to see the homes of the rich and famous. So they did an episode that was new recently, and a guy you know and love very dearly. Former New York Giant and Hall of Famer, Michael Strahan. He really, really went one up and leveled up on MTV Cribs. He said, no, I'm balling so much, I'm not even going to take you to my crib. I'm actually just going to take MTV Cribs to this gigantic 8,500 square foot storage facility where I've built the largest man cave you could possibly imagine, and I store all the gazillion cars I own. So he took the MTV cameras through what he calls Strayland, a gigantic man cave, and the piece de resistance at the end, a champagne vending machine. So needless to say, Michael Strahan, he's doing okay. You don't have to worry about him.
I mean, I was never really worried about Michael Strahan.
It just makes me wonder, well, where does he live? What does his house look like? If he won't even show us his house and he'll only show us the storage facility, I can only imagine what his actual crib looks like. Amazing.
It's probably pretty awesome. It probably is. All right, let's get into this week's guest. We're back to golf, and in particular, we're back to arguably our roots here, Alex, because we got a mini tour grinder that you spoke to, Chris Wiatr, joining us. He's got a Connecticut connection from his UConn days, so we'll have a little UConn basketball talk in there as well. And of course, he's going to talk to us about his life on the mini tours down there in South America, and just kind of the cool vistas and things that he's done down there, and what it's like playing in another part of the world.
Yeah, he is. And he's got an interesting connection to a previous podcast guest as well, too. So you'll have to hear about that and his journey through golf. Very cool conversation coming your way with a guy that has a lot of parallels to us as well, too. Good conversation with Chris Wiatr.
That's right. We'll get to that conversation in just a second. But first, let's talk about our newest member of the Course of Life family, and that is Voris Golf. These guys just sent us a little goodie bag of some of their stuff so we could take a look at it and see what we think of it.
They did.
We got some cool polos with a lot of moisture wicking capabilities in them. They sent us a hat, so we got a hat with the nice Voris V on it, and we got their golf gloves as well, which have this really cool tech in it, right, Alex?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's one of those little things. Again, we're all about kind of just enhancing the golf experience. That's who we love to partner with, is brands that just make the round just a little bit more convenient. Little bit easier on you. Just make it just that tad bit better to enhance that experience. And then the golf glove made by Voris has this through touch technology, which essentially means that you can operate your phone and all the apps that you use during the course and the scoring you do while you have your glove on. It's absolutely vital. And if anyone is in that predicament where they have to keep ripping their glove off to use their phone, you know how much of an issue that is. So check out Voris Golf and everything they have to offer, like I said, with the glove and all of their apparel and much more. It's at vorisgolf.com. Our promo code COL18. It gets you 18% off anything. And that way you can stay comfy for all 18 holes. Again, vorisgolf.com, promo code COL18 for 18% off today. Next up on the tee, originally from my neck of the woods in New England, he's now residing in Florida, a pro golfer. He's had starts all over on basically every mini tour and the PGA Tour as well. And we have an interesting connection to a past guest as well. It's Chris Wiatr joining the Course of Life. Chris, how you doing this evening?
Good, Alex. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Absolutely. Like I mentioned from the top, you're originally from New England. I got ties to Connecticut, where I have lived. I went to college there as well, too, before I moved down to Texas. But growing up in that New England golf environment, it's not a full year of golf like it is for you now in Florida. I'm curious what sports in general was like for you as a youth and maybe when golf eventually came a priority for you.
Yeah, obviously, the golf scene in New England can be, pretty absent in the
Limited.
winter.
Yep.
So, I grew up playing a lot of sports, played 3 sports through high school. So my year basically revolved around which season it was. I was playing soccer in the falls, I was playing hockey in the winters, and golf all summer long. And golf was really probably when I was about, I don't know, 13, 14 is when I really started taking it a bit more seriously and thought,
Same. Yeah.
I started, when you're 10 years old, people aren't going to play with you. But when 13, 14, I started playing with the older guys at the club and beating up on them a little bit. And that was fueling the fire. I really enjoyed it. And, at my high school, where we went to school at Canterbury in New Milford, Connecticut, you have to play 3 sports. So that can be quite challenging when you're trying to pursue one sport in college, because 2/3 of the year I was focusing on something else.
Right. Yeah. And in my high school in Massachusetts, golf was a fall sport.
That's
so
how
it eliminated me from football and soccer pretty immediately when I got to high school.
But that's truly when the best golf is played in New England. I mean, spring golf in New England sucks. It's
muddy to say the least. Yeah.
It's gross out, but the fall, the courses are awesome. And that's truly the best time of year, as to play up there.
Yeah, very cool. I was about to ask what your favorite New England kind of golf vibe and season is, but it's probably just past us now as our audience is listening November Thanksgiving season. I do have a lot of memories of fall golf in September and October, but what are your best golf memories specific to growing up in that area of the country?
Well, one funny story comes to mind. I won't say his name, but a collegiate teammate of mine played the leaf rule in a college tournament, thought it was just one of the normal rules that was just part of golf, but he didn't understand that was actually not part of the rules. And he was disqualified from that round. But growing up in the fall in Connecticut, it was always kind of tough because I was heading in to play soccer and do that whole thing. And I felt like all the courses were getting better. So I truly believe that I didn't really get an appreciation for it until I started at UCONN. And we were just out there every day in the fall, obviously grinding, and that was just a really special time. All of the beautiful courses in Connecticut and all of, it's just a unique place. And I guess I took it for granted when I lived there, because now, having lived in Florida, now 6 years, I really yearn for that time of year. It's something I really miss.
Yeah, the trees and the rolling hills and the foliage is definitely a vibe indeed. So I'm curious, tell me about that moment when you did choose to go to UConn for college. What was that choice like for you? Did you know in advance, was that a scholarship or walk-on opportunity? And how did you weigh that, staying locally versus playing somewhere else?
So I followed a very good piece of advice that I still tell people today, guys that are trying to play in college, and that's to go somewhere that you're going to play right away. It doesn't really do you any good to go to a school that you won't be able to make the lineup, because ultimately golf is a game of your experiences and your progression. And if you're robbed of those experiences because you're not making the lineup, then I think you're at the wrong school. So it was very important to me to make sure I could go somewhere where I thought I could make an impact and thought I could play right away. And UConn was a good fit. Coach Pizzino was the most enthusiastic of all the coaches that I met with. And I looked at a few other schools, but we looked all over the country, especially with Maggie. Like we looked all throughout the South and all over the place. And it was kind of funny how we both ended up staying in Connecticut to go to college.
Interesting. Yeah. So tell me about what were the notable b-ball years, basketball years you were there at UConn? Because everyone knows them for their basketball program. So who were the stars, and when were you there on campus as a student?
Yeah. So going into my freshman year, my official visit was during the Pitt cardiac Kemba step back at the buzzer in the Big East Championship.
Oh yes,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, this is, you know.
Well, we'll get to other UConn basketball moments later. Don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was there. I started in the fall of 2011. And so when I was there, the women won 4 national championships and the men won one the year before I came in. So it was cool to be around that. And particularly because our indoor practice facility was in the basketball arena. So it just felt like we were like close to greatness. It kind of was inspiring, honestly, especially watching the girls train. I mean, they just worked so hard, and it was obvious why they were so dominant.
Yeah, definitely. That is still moving with Gino today, and you never know when the UConn men are going to make another tournament run around the corner here.
They're always, I always like them
lurking.
At like an 8 seed. When they're in an 8 or 9 seed, they're dangerous.
Tell me about that college golf experience specifically. I saw some content on your Instagram. It's Chris Wiatr, C Wiatr, Wiatr. If people want to check him out. That van life travel experience and the family of playing on a college golf team. For those of us who didn't quite get to experience that, what do you kind of remember most fondly about that?
Yeah, those were good years, man. They fly by. They absolutely fly by. And it's a brotherhood because you're forced to be with these guys, whether you like them or not. It's like truly like a family, It's just you're always together. You're waking up, you're doing the early workouts, you're going to practice, you're taking classes together because you want to study together and you want to work together on the road. So it's like it's a really unique vibe, but also the student athlete experience itself at UConn. It felt like all the student athletes kind of bonded together, and that was a really, really cool experience. And just I have a lot of memories of, a lot of my coach's bad driving and almost getting in accidents and laughing with my buddies in the back. I mean, those were funny years.
Very cool. I wonder if it was any sort of minute amount of prep for what was next. And obviously the life of a pro golfer, which takes on a whole new meaning in terms of travel. Tell me about the decision to play professionally. And I'm curious really what your support system looked like at the time of making the decision, and who's there kind of by your side as you decided you want to make this career.
Yeah, well, I mean, my college career was nothing to write home about. But I always kind of felt like I hadn't arrived yet. I always kind of felt like I'd never had, before college, I'd never had the ability to give 12 months a year. And then even when I was in college, it was cold a lot of the year. There's only so much you can get done inside. So
right,
to give it a shot and see, how it went, if I really, pursued it full time and not having to worry about anything but golf. And, I was playing some good golf towards the end of my collegiate career and some good golf in the summers, in the amateur stuff. And, to be honest with you, I think I was a bit naive, in how easy I thought it would be. But I learned quickly, and I've continued to get better. And, I've had highs and lows in my career, and it's a constant grind, man. It's not easy. It's not glamorous. People think of like professional golf as like, private jets and, live golf tour events. It's the majority of it is not like that. It's guys chasing it, grinding it. And, it's a big financial decision. It's a big decision. You have to have people around you that, support your vision. And, it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people. And, my parents have been super supportive of me my whole life. And my dad was very adamant that I give it a shot because he believed in me as well. And,
that's awesome.
Now it's all about having the right people around me. My girlfriend, Jackie, is fantastic. She's able to deal with me traveling a ton and not being here all the time. And you have to find a special girl to be able to deal with the chaos that is pro golf. And I'm lucky to have her as well.
Yeah, no, those are some great anchors for sure, like you mentioned. So, Chris, let's get into some of the wilder or maybe wonkier sides of the pro golf travel life, because you've documented enough of it for me to tell that you definitely have some experiences with traveling. And I'm referring mainly to your PGA Tour Latino America starts and days out there, that sort of exploration phase, if it will, for your life and career in the game. Take me through the landscape, first of all. You posted some pictures of the Andes Mountains in Chile, I believe it was. But for those of us like myself who've never been to South America, but just maybe only heard stories or seen photos, what's it like kind of touching down and traveling and moving around the land there?
South America is an incredible place. It gets a bad rap because obviously it's not quite as safe as, most people where they grew up in the U.S. Mm-hmm. But it is one of the most beautiful places I have ever been. All of the countries down there are so unique. Argentina and Chile and Brazil and Peru, and Ecuador and Colombia. I mean, they all have various things that are really cool about them. Traveling down there is an absolute nightmare. I will say that. We're used to, especially being from the Northeast, so close to New York, it's like we're used to just fast paced, things move quickly. And like down there, everything's just tripled. I mean, when they say to get to the airport 4 hours before your flight, you better make it 5.
4 or 5 hours. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Damn.
And no doubt. I mean, I've had situations where I get to the airport 5 hours before my flight and there's, 60 golfers with bags lined up already there.
That's great. So do you have to convert currency and everything like that? And what's it like finding and locating accommodations? I'm sure that's always a journey.
Yeah, well, the tour provides like a host hotel each week.
Nice. Okay.
Typically is a good option, and a lot of guys who are rookies or new down there, they kind of just follow that route because it's generally the safest and the most comfortable. I tend to go to the Airbnbs because I'm not a big hotel room guy. I'd rather have more of a space, like a living room, and usually we get some pretty cool places for not much because down there the dollar goes pretty far. So I mean we've stayed in some penthouses and some big houses for $45-$50 a night for four nice. Guys. So I mean once you're down there you can find something pretty luxurious and make it work.
Balling on a budget, I think is the term for that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm a pro with that, dude. I'm a pro.
Nice. How about the courses, and let's talk about the actual golf topography there. Maybe just highlight one or two really unique kind of once in a lifetime experience courses that you may have played down there in your time in South America.
Yeah. One that I'll mention that's really unique is the golf club, Quito Golf and Tennis Club. That's right in Quito and Ecuador. And it's at 10,000 feet. So
wow,
the ball goes just an absolute country mile, and it's a very difficult place to adapt to. There's a lot of preparation that goes in when you're there, trying to make sure that your ball stays in the air, because if it's not spinning enough, it's falling out of the air, and it's very tough to control distances when you have to trust that your pitching wedge is going to fly 205 and. Random
That's just an absurd number. I was going to ask what the club or yard differential there was, but
you
just kind of illustrated it.
Honestly, it's a lot of it could get hot in the afternoon and the ball starts traveling, and then you're at altitude as well, and then you have a shot that's downwind over water. And I had a shot on a par 5 that I had 6 iron in my hand, and then I had 7 iron in my hand, and then a gust came up and I had 8 iron in my hand, and then I was stewing over it a little bit. I ended up hitting 9 iron and airmailing the green. So it's like. You really, it's a unique, very difficult place to go and just jump in that course. And then I would say, the courses in Argentina are just super special. The Argentine Open is such a special event. The winner of that gets into the British Open, and they take it really a step beyond the rest of the events. It's just a super world-class, awesome venue, and always just a pure conditions.
Very cool. And I'm curious, with your travels, how's your Spanish? What can you say? What are the most useful things to get you around? What's your level of speaking?
I studied Spanish in school. and it's okay. It's good enough to order at a restaurant and speak to my cab drivers. I can't, I'm not going to be able to get into the politics and have real conversations, but I can get around town pretty good.
Not bad. Nice. Cool. I was just curious about that. One highlight I wanted to talk about is you getting through in your PGA Tour experience. I feel like since you went through the Monday qualifier route, which we've highlighted, we've had Ryan French, Mr. Monday Q himself on the podcast, and lots of guys who've gotten through that unique method of playing on tour. You must have some sort of tidbit or memory from your Monday qualifier story to get you to play on that first PGA Tour start. What's your best memory from that day?
That was a very windy day. And oftentimes when it's super windy, it's really easy to just stay in the moment because every shot is so demanding. And I feel like I finished the round before I even knew it was over. It was just like one of those days where I was really present. And I try to be that way, every time I play golf because, not getting ahead of yourself is the name of the game. That was probably the best I had ever played at that course, Iron Horse Country Club, which I actually used to be a member at for like a year or two.
Wow.
When I first moved down here. And I had left because I had gone to another club and I just never really played that place well, and went out that day and played awesome.
Turnabout fair play. Love it. Very cool. So what's the plans for you as we look forward to 2023? You're in Florida. You just literally finished a one-day tournament of the minor league golf tour and you play a lot of those events. What's the schedule roughly looking like? Are you going to spray in, Monday qualifier opportunities on the Korn Ferry or PGA or what's the preliminary schedule looking like for you as we look to the next year?
Yeah, I'm focused just entirely on the Monday qualifiers. And shout out Ryan French. He's a great guy. And I've gotten to know him well over the last few years.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, I'm going to focus on all the Mondays. I'm going to kind of divide it up depending on the time of year. So I'm going to do RSM up at Sea Island. And then, it'll kind of wind down here the rest of the season, play some local stuff, and just work on my game. And then as soon as January hits, I'm going to do a bunch of the Korn Ferry Mondays to start the year, all the ones in South America. And, we'll see what we can do. If I don't make anything happen early on the Korn, then I would just go straight into doing PGA Tour Mondays. I actually, I'm not trying to sound like this is just my perspective, but I truly believe that it is a lot easier to get through a PGA Tour Monday qualifier than it is a Korn Ferry Monday qualifier.
Interesting. Is that depth of field in the Korn Ferry, or how does that work in terms of being easier?
The pre-qualifier does a good job. And, I think when the tour established these pre-qualifiers, it was just a way of weeding out, the guys who stunk, that were going to ruin pace of play.
Yeah.
But it has evolved for certain events where you have to shoot 65 or 66 just to get through the pre-qualifier. Because all of the Monday qualifier fields are small. They're only 60 to 90 guys, whereas the Korn Ferry events are 156 on two courses, often 312 guys for sometimes 4 spots, sometimes 6 spots. When I Mondayed into Savannah on Korn a few years ago, I shot 9 under, and I still remember feeling like I hope that's good enough. I hope I don't have to go into a playoff, and that's just insane, because if you shoot 9 under in a PGA Tour Monday, you're not even thinking twice. You're going to breeze through.
You just birdied half the holes on the golf course. You'd think that'd be good enough, right?
Good enough.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. Very exciting. Well, I'm looking forward to following a lot of that. Was it next, let's see, spring? We've got the Korn Ferry San Antonio Monday. If you're looking for a caddy for any of those, I do know those courses. So I'll hit you up about that next spring.
I'll keep that in mind. That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, it's Chris Wiatr joining us again on the Course of Life. Let's do some quick shot questions real quick. I mentioned the connection, which you hinted at. Part of the same family as Everyday Maggie, who recently appeared on the podcast a few weeks back. She's a hilarious content creator, which pokes fun at all things Boston. My one question for you is real simple. Everyday Maggie at the family holiday party this year, is she as outgoing and turned up as what we see from her content, or is it different?
Oh yeah, Maggie has been the center of attention since I can remember. She's my twin sister. I've been by her since the beginning, and it's funny to see all of the attention that she's received for her little side hobby, which now has evolved into, a little cash cow, which is awesome. She,
yeah, and it connected us, small world
doing
too.
it because she loves it. She didn't start doing it to gain any sort of popularity. She's just naturally good with the camera, and she's kind of always owned the room. So, she definitely is going to be Liddy at the holidays.
Nice. I'm curious about one tour connection that you do have. I know you guys got some tickets and checked out. I think it was it Brookline to check out Denny McCarthy, who I'm sure you got some sort of a golf relationship with. What's your background with him? He's really made his way nicely on tour.
Yeah, Denny's been a good friend for about 5 years now. We started practicing together when we got down here. We moved down here around the same time, and we were working out at the same facility. We subsequently lived together for about 4 years. So yeah, I know him really well. His girlfriend Sam and my girlfriend Jackie are like best friends. So we spend a lot of time together. We play a lot of golf together, and it's awesome to see. I've always known that Denny is a very special player, and it's good to see that he's continued to progress in his career. I know that he's going to keep knocking on the door, and he's going to get a win soon.
Nice. Yeah, you're going to follow in his footsteps as well too. So
yeah, I am. I told him, how mad would you be if I just came out there and won before you got a 200 starts and I go out there and win?
Oh yeah, just stealing checks from him. He'll love that. He'll really enjoy that.
Making some pretty good ones. So
let's get back to something we mentioned at the end before we wrap here. Favorite UConn basketball memory? There's so many of them. This is one of those schools where I feel like no matter where you are in the country, if you're a sports fan, you just remember something epic that happened to UConn. I've seen all the good and the bad in my days in New England. I'm saying that the cardiac Kemba Walker run was definitely a favorite of mine. But what are your favorites from your day?
Yeah, I would say it's impossible to beat the cardiac Kemba step back, but I remember there was one game. I think it was against Cincinnati, but they hit a 3 down the stretch with like 0.2 seconds left to go up.
This one you posted a long time ago. I think I dug deep enough in your Instagram to find that.
Yeah, wow, you're going deep. That's creepy, dude. And they really, they had nothing. They had 0.2 on the clock, I think, and they shelled it out and tossed it in the court. And I was just like, yeah, that's true March Madness right there.
Good stuff. And we always wrap with our 19th hole question. So the question's simple. When you get in after a round, your favorite course and clubhouse, and you get in there, what's your go-to order for like a meal and a drink?
Ooh, I'm turkey club guy since day one. If it's daytime, just a turkey club and an Arnold Palmer is just hard to beat after a day on the links.
Nice. Tried and true combo indeed. Love it. Hey, Chris, thank you for hopping on, man. Really appreciate you taking the time. Looking forward to following more of your tournament progress as we get through the rest of the 2022 and into the new year as well. Hit them straight.
Alex, thanks. Nice meeting you, man.
And we're back. Great chat there with Chris. Man, fall golf in New England. It brings back all his memories.
This is that time right now when you're getting that final round in, like right now.
Yeah, pretty much. It's getting cold up there. It's November. All the trees are barren now. All those leaves are on the ground. So when that, like he said, when that ball goes into the leaf rule, just drop it.
How great is that? Yeah. And for those who don't know the leaf rule, essentially the way it works is if you're playing golf in that certain part of the country, and we legit played with this in my state championship, I kid you not, like it's an actual thing. If you just hit your ball like in the rough and there's like a patch of leaves over there and you and everyone in your group kind of just mutually agrees that the ball is hidden there somewhere under the leaves, you just get like a drop. You can just drop it like, oh yeah, we all just agree in that area. Yeah, it's one of the stranger things regionally in golf that I've ever come across. But I grew up with it, so it seemed normal to me. And that was a funny reference from Chris, to say the least.
Oh, that's right. And if you like that conversation with Chris, plus everything else we do here on this podcast, make sure you punch that subscribe button so you never miss a new episode when they drop on Tuesday evenings. Make sure you follow us on Instagram as well. COL Podcast is our handle. He's at Course of Life Alex. I'm at MWRINC. We're on Twitter too, Course of Life 1 and MWRINC. We're still going to be on Twitter. We'll still talk golf. We don't talk about much else there. But I'm not planning on impersonating Elon Musk anytime soon. And
No, I literally just, the only thing I said to him is I just send the algorithm my way, please. I just asked nicely. I don't have any other requests for him. So
yeah. And we don't make enough money to pay the $8 a month to get verified. So that's not happening either. Yeah. No blue check marks next to us.
We're brown check marks all the way.
We are. All right, let's talk college football. Your Run Your Pool article, Alex. All your picks there are on your Pool Weekly. 7, 6, and 1 overall in your picks, but only 2 and 3 in your article. We seem to not be able to get really anything going right now for you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like looking right now, and I'm just like, I keep looking at these past few weeks, and I'm just really spinning my wheels right now, stuck in the mud, and the wheels are spinning, but you're just not getting out of the ditch. They're not bad weeks. They're just weeks where there's the full of hope, and then everything comes crashing down at night. But what I can say is that I absolutely nailed the game of the week this past weekend. 1 versus 2, Georgia versus Tennessee. I had that all the way. I knew it was a Georgia route. I knew it was under the total. That was my highlight bet. So not a great betting week, but always good to know you can just nail the big game. And boy, did those Bulldogs look good.
Did you know it was going to be a rout? Did you know it was going to be that bad for Tennessee?
Well, I had them minus 7.5, so I knew they'd win by more than a touchdown. I bet that, and they ended up winning by 2. They were up by 3, basically, the entire game. So the Bulldogs clearly solidified their spot as the number 1 team and the defending champion. Again, it's that conversation about the top 4 right now. If you, depending on what poll you look at, the TCU Horned Frogs might be in the top 4 right now. Yeah. It's a weird world out there. And TCU, Mike, comes to Austin, Texas this weekend for the college game day game against the Longhorns. So a lot to unfold here in the last several weeks of the season.
I also just need to give a shout out, since I was in New Orleans this weekend, for LSU beating Alabama at the buzzer going for 2.
A lot of purple and yellow there, I imagine, right?
Oh man, when I got off the plane on Thursday, they said, if you're all coming here for the LSU game, let's go. And there was a big shout from the crowd. So
huge win. Brian Kelly, I don't know if you saw it, Brian Kelly went for 2 for the win in that game. Yeah. They were down 1 late, scored a TD. He said, F it, going for 2 for the win. Got it. Done. That's gutsy.
How much does it suck to be Alabama right now?
2-loss Alabama. I don't get to say that very often.
No.
Alabama just racking up losses here. What times? Amazing.
It's an incredible time to be alive. Let's look at the NFL. Your Run Your Pool picks over on the pro side of the ball, 3 and 2 better. You're still like 500 or so, averaging it out. So your guarantee every year is just that you're going to make people money. Not a lot of money, but money.
Right now, I'm guaranteeing a break even. That's where we're at. So I moved the quota slightly down. Yes, I would love to make everyone money, and hopefully you can follow along with the article, and we can get there eventually. Fortunately, we got an extra week on the season these days, so there's more opportunity. But here we sit. We're in an interesting spot right now, Mike. The Giants just coming off their bye. The Patriots about to go into ours. So good time to take inventory for a few moments here. We'll start with you, Mike. Giants 6 and 2 at the bye here.
Yep.
What does the second half of the season hold? This is amazing stuff you guys have put together. I got to be honest.
Yeah, it's didn't like going into the bye with a loss. That was not the way to go into the bye. The second half of the season is going to be a little more difficult because we face the Eagles twice. So
could be 2 losses there. Okay. At least
it could be, or it could be, those 2 games will probably help decide the NFC East as a whole. So, once again, the NFC East, one of the strongest divisions in football. We haven't said that in maybe 10 years or so. And really, the rest of the NFL seems to be just a crapshoot across the board.
I can't believe I'm about to make this joke, and you're welcome. I'm a good friend for making it. But hey, maybe you could spoil the Eagles' perfect season.
We've done that to a team before in the final game of the season.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's all I'm doing for you there.
Your Pats are 4 and 4.
5 and 4 after the win. 5 and 4. We got the win.
There you go. 5 and 4 at the bye. How do you feel about their second half?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, kind of groggy win. Again, I'm just really not super sold on Mac Jones this season. Like, it was 26 points, Mike, but it was 4 field goals and a pick 6. And the other drive was 3 yards after a fumble recovery. So there's not a lot of movement offensively for the Patriots right now. I don't know. Is it Zappy time again? Are we giving Zappy another look? Who knows? But as long as they keep winning, Mac Jones will stay in. So the second half of the season is a predominantly tougher schedule for the Patriots. So buckle up. It's going to get interesting.
It really is. Major League Baseball wrapped up their season as the cheating Astros won themselves another World Series. They're beating trash cans in celebration down there in Houston. Again, flying through the Houston hobby like I was this weekend. Thursday night, all the TVs and all the bars were on to the game, and they were watching it there. And you had the ALCS championship T-shirts out. And then literally Sunday, when I was in the airport, I walked past a place that was unboxing the World Series shirts.
Very cool. You got a nice little sports chronology weekend there with the LSU. You really got the vibe of the sports pulse right now this past weekend. Very good stuff. Yeah. Like that.
It's kind of weird. And then when I was having lunch in the airport on Wednesday, I wanted a buffalo chicken salad. So I went to Buffalo Wild Wings because there is nothing in the hobby airport really.
All right, let's just get right to it. Okay, so hobby airport, crappy food. Let's hashtag always end with food. Yeah. But you did do something. What else did you do? A beignet at the airport. How did that compare to your in-person NOLA experience?
So in New Orleans, we were looking for Cafe Du Monde. We were trying to decide if we were going to go to Cafe Du Monde. It was huge at Cafe Du Monde.
Yeah, okay,
massive. But on Canal Street, there's several of them actually all over the place. There is Cafe Beignet.
Yeah, that's the one my wife swore by. I told you that.
Alton Brown also says is better than Cafe Du Monde. So
high regard right there.
So we got stuff from them there. Big suckers. Those guys were big. A lot, not too much powdered sugar. These weren't like drowning in powdered sugar. They were good. They were fresh out of the fryer. They were hot. They were tender. They were fantastic. And then in the airport Sunday morning for breakfast, went to the Cafe Du Monde there because it was there. Why not? And got their 3-pack of beignets and got a cafe au lait. The beignets there were significantly smaller.
Makes sense at the airport.
And they weren't as fresh. They were a little chewier. I didn't like the texture quite as much. And there was so much powdered sugar left in that bag. It's just like I could have taken it and made frosting with it with a stick of butter. It was just crazy.
Jesus. Wow. Yeah, I did see that, the remnants of that. So it sounds like overall Cafe Beignet, the notch above beignet spot in New Orleans.
Yeah, I would say go to Cafe Du Monde and just look at it, which is what I did. And then turn around and go find a Cafe Beignet and get one there. It's like the same price, like $4 for 3 beignets. Things are freaking huge.
Noted.
You'll be very happy with it.
Yeah, it looked like a very powder sugar filled weekend for you. Good stuff. Yeah. Nice. Yep. Actually had mom in town this past weekend as well, too. Nice. Enjoying the trip in Austin. And one thing she recommended, because she saw my reel at Always End With Food on Instagram, be sure to follow, of my trip a couple weeks ago on the way home from my UTSA football game. I had to stop at Buc-ees, the world famous truck stop, gas station, and everything more that you never knew you needed on the road. And I got to another one because my mom had to go. So I drove her immediately from the airport to the Buc-ees in Bastrop. Went nuts, got way too much stuff. But Buc-ee's holiday shopping season in full effect. Buc-ee's Christmas merch, Mike, all over the place. The place was absolutely humming. What a vibe in there.
Do you have a Buc-ee's t-shirt yet?
No shirt, but I got the hat. And I wear it on the golf course a lot, actually.
Okay.
It's very nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I got the Buc-ee beaver ornament was the nice little tidbit for my tree this season.
Yes.
So that was nice. But with that, let's not get to Christmas. Let's do part 1 of a 3-part conversation here as we lead into one of the best holidays of the year and maybe arguably the best food holiday of the year, talking about Thanksgiving. And we like to parcel this up. So let's get to part 1 and talk appetizers real quick. Thoughts, game plan as we're 2 weeks out from the big meal. What do you anticipate yourself starting your Thanksgiving day with?
So we don't usually do a lot of apps in our household, but if we do, honestly, it's something simple and light because you're going to have a big meal. So really, it's usually just like some raw veggies and dip. It's really all you need, I think.
Just the crudité. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going light.
Something simple.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have something like that too. We're going to do basically a 2-meal deal. So we're going to do an appetizer meal like midday, and then we're not going to eat till at least 4 or 5 p.m. We're really splitting it up this year. So I'm going to lean in heavy on the apps. We're going to make some queso. We're doing the stuffed mushrooms again. And then per Brandy Molloy's suggestion, we're gathering and we're putting together a nice cheese board. A nice fancy charcuterie will be happening. And that's going to be the addition to my appetizers this year.
You're not doing a butter board?
It is a thought. I didn't want to formally say it right here. Let's just say it is a thought. If it doesn't happen for Thanksgiving, it'll happen for one of those grand holidays afterwards.
I will say that the Jew in me sometime this holiday season wants to do a cream cheese board.
Yes,
with some bagel chips,
lots of possibilities there.
Red onion and capers and dill and some smoked salmon over the top of it, and
that's interesting. The deconstructed bagel and lox board, love it. Good stuff. Okay, ideas galore. There you go. Follow Always End With Food if you like that and more for food content, and check out COL Podcast as well. That's a wrap on another great Course of Life episode. We'll see you all next week.